that is?
I have to let you in on a little secret.
You know how I like to move like a ghost.
What kind of business were you having with the commissioner?
And now that you know everything, what are you going to do?
Every soap opera has its absurdities. But General Hospital seems determined to test how much suspension of disbelief its audience can stomach. The latest spectacle involves Jocelyn, who has apparently traded her perpetually troubled teen phase for a new career as a bargain bin James Bond, complete with her conveniently step-related partner. The duo prances around like a knockoff Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but with all the elegance of community theater. One almost expects a laugh track when they emerge from bed with guns drawn, as if the writers are parodying themselves. Meanwhile, Britt continues his ghostly glide through Port Charles, popping in and out with the regularity of a part-time magician. His smooth entrances are treated as a dramatic event, though no one seems to know what purpose he actually serves beyond reminding viewers that he exists. Carly, of course, remains the show's bulldozer-in-chief, marching straight into Anna's office to confess she threatened Drew, because nothing says Queen of Port Charles like openly admitting attempted homicide with a smirk. Then there's Britt, forever painted as the brat. Her jealousy of Carly is glaring, her disdain for Jason obvious, and her ongoing feud with her own storyline exhausting. Whether she's supposed to be jealous, conniving, or tragic depends on which episode one stumbles into. Still, she might be the only character capable of rescuing Portia from her legal mess, which says more about the writer's desperation than Britt's competence. As for Drew, his smug survival act grows more tedious with each passing week. Once again, he's the man with all the power, dangling secrets over everyone else's heads while viewers pray for karma to finally take a swing. The theory that he orchestrated his own shooting to frame Michael, thereby stripping him of custody rights, is almost too on-brand for a character this insufferable. And Willow, caught between being naive and possibly homicidal, is reduced to fainting spells and moral ambiguity. The real tragedy, however, is the show's handling of crime. Murders in Port Charles are solved with less rigor than a neighborhood bake sale dispute. Austin is killed, shrug. Cyrus gets shot, shrug. Sonny himself shoots Jagger, and the investigation evaporates into thin air. Jocelyn kills Cyrus, Jason is briefly framed with a hair sample, and the storyline vanishes like last season's wardrobe. This slapdash justice system might work in a town of goldfish, but Port Charles has been recycling corpses long enough for viewers to notice. Even the occasional returns of Brick Diane or the dream of Dex's resurrection cannot mask the problem. General Hospital is so entangled in recycled plots and absurd spy theatrics that it risks becoming a parody of itself. Characters are resurrected, comas are overturned. Secrets are spilled to the wrong people for no reason, and somehow Drew is still smugly upright. If this is espionage, it's espionage by way of a daytime carnival. Never believe a death scene on General Hospital, because Britt just showed us how meaningless final goodbyes really are. Soap operas thrive on the absurd, but General Hospital has taken suspension of disbelief and turned it into a contact sport. Take Britt Westborne, for example. Once the scheming interloper who tried to snatch Patrick from Sabrina, she has since undergone a miraculous transformation, so much so that her return feels less like a gimmick and more like a long-overdue revival. Of course, the writers staged her re-entry with the kind of melodrama only Port Charles can supply. Liesl Obrecht fainting, wide-eyed reactions from every relative and acquaintance within a 10-foot radius, and the unspoken question, why is anyone still surprised when the dead stroll back through the hospital doors? After all, Britt supposedly perished in her mother's arms. Yet here she is, back at work as though filing HR paperwork is the natural next step after resurrection. Within minutes, she manages to bump into her mother, cousin, and the very people she once tried to swindle into believing her child was theirs. Only in soap opera land does one's first day back from the grave double as an awkward family reunion. Meanwhile, the custody battles and courtroom theatrics have turned the show into a revolving door for attorneys. Alexis with Diane, Michael with Marco, Curtis with Martin. At this rate, the writers might as well open a spin-off titled Law and Disorder, Port Charles. Who exactly will handle Willow's inevitable custody fight? The casting call for lawyers is starting to rival the one for presumed dead exes. Elsewhere, the Drew Kane storyline has officially worn out its welcome. The plot has been stretched thinner than hospital cafeteria soup, and the latest twist, that Drew may frame Michael for his own shooting, reeks of desperation. The theory practically writes itself. Drew orchestrates the shooting, blames Michael, and watches as custody of the children slips from Michael's hands into Willow's. It's a plan so convoluted even by soap standards that one wonders if the writers are daring the audience to keep a straight face. Of course, when it comes to relationships, General Hospital never misses a chance to revel in hypocrisy. Lulu manages to bury the hatchet with Nina, yet can't muster basic civility toward Brooklyn. Curtis's marriage is teetering on the edge, thanks to Portia's affair and Anna's inevitable questioning. Jordan, ever the opportunist, seems poised to reap the benefits of Curtis's unraveling union, just as she always wanted. The side plots add their own absurd flair. The suggestion that Willow herself pulled the trigger in a scheme with Drew stretches credibility into taffy. But in Port Charles, desperation is currency and manipulation is sport. Carly's world, too, is about to implode once Jocelyn's escapades surface. Another storyline waiting to detonate. And let's not overlook Michael and Jacinda's ill-advised tryst, complete with Dante catching Michael leaving her bathroom. Subtlety is not this show's strong suit. And yet, despite the chaos, or perhaps because of it, the casting remains one of the show's saving graces. Curtis Ashford, Portia Robinson, Michael Corinthos, Jacinda Bracken, Willow Tate, Drew Kane, Anna Devane, Carly Spencer, Jason Morgan, Britt Westborne, Elizabeth Baldwin, Liesl Obrecht, Nina Reeves, Lulu Spencer, and Dante Falconeri form a powerhouse ensemble capable of elevating even the most preposterous scripts. The return of Britt, paired with the promise of Brad's comedic energy, offers a glimpse of what the show still does best, blending absurdity with entertainment. Yes, the cliffhanger ending was textbook soap, a fainting Obrecht, stunned family faces, and the unspoken chorus of, "She's alive? Again?" But that is precisely the magic. In Port Charles, the dead don't stay buried, the guilty never stay caught, and the ridiculous somehow always manages to keep viewers tuning in tomorrow. Jason Morgan's true love isn't Britt, Sam, or anyone else. Let's face it, it's always Carly. Jason Morgan has always had one great love, and her name is Carly Corinthos. Unfortunately, Britt Westborne is just now realizing that ugly truth. Her heartbreak is palpable. After all, Jason was ready to marry Carly at the drop of a fedora, even if it was supposedly for show. And let's be honest, had Sonny not walked through that door when he did, Jason and Carly would have been well past the fake engagement stage and on to the honeymoon suite. Britt's pain isn't about tattoos or banter. It's about realizing she was never first. Speaking of tattoos, her criticism of Jason's ink was delivered with comic precision, only matched by his stone-faced non-reaction. Their airplane repartee was the highlight, sharp, hilarious, and brimming with chemistry. These two together are a slow-burn pairing, one the writers are clearly teasing, but Britt will need to reconcile herself with the eternal truth that Carly will always come first in Jason's world. Meanwhile, the storyline around Drew borders on the absurd. Two different shooters, coma patients turned assassins, and somehow Drew surviving it all only to return in worse form than before. The theory that Willow was the culprit, and the same Willow who supposedly kidnapped Daisy, would almost be entertaining if it weren't so pathetic. This woman is unraveling faster than the Quartermain family tree, and yet the show dangles the possibility of her regaining custody. What judge in their right mind would send children back into a household where the mother's boyfriend keeps catching bullets? Elsewhere, Port Charles is still recovering from the Croatia fiasco, mercifully over and left behind. Britt's return to General Hospital sets the stage for inevitable collisions. Elizabeth, Nina, Dante, Lulu, and of course Liesl Obrecht, because no homecoming is complete without a gauntlet of confrontations. And waiting in the wings is Rocco, a powder keg of resentment sure to explode once their paths cross. General Hospital also faces a broader issue, how it honors its legacy. Memorial episodes are being prepared for the late Leslie Charleson, Monica Quartermain, and another recently departed actor, yet Robert Scorpio's absence is glaring. If the writers wish to celebrate the heart of the show, Tristan Rogers deserves to be there. And so, as always, the canvas is a swirl of romance, betrayal, recycled mob loyalties, and legal lunacy. Jason continues to cycle through the same tired script, falling for women shocked that Carly comes first. While Britt tries to stake her claim, Drew somehow cheats death yet again, and Willow's instability makes her less maternal figure and more loose cannon. One thing is certain, the banter may be new, the pairings may shuffle, but in Port Charles, the story always circles back to the same truth. Carly Corinthos is the queen, and everyone else is just playing for second place. Here's what the writers of General Hospital don't want you to realize. They think their audience is too stupid to care about logic. General Hospital continues its grand tradition of testing the audience's patience, not just with implausible plots, but with writing that assumes viewers left their critical faculties in the lobby. Take Liesel, for instance. Yes, she slapped someone, but frankly, her grief earns her a pass. She's been aching for her daughter for years. And speaking of Britt, apparently, before her death, she was off doing mysterious research of her own free will. No coercion, no captivity, just another storyline tossed in for drama's sake. Then there's Jason, ever the moral compass of Port Charles. He has the audacity to rage at Anna for not disclosing Jocelyn's involvement with the WSB, as if Anna should risk prison simply to keep him informed. One must admire his consistency, forever the martyr in his own mind. Meanwhile, Brennan delivers the classic soap villain lament, an operation deemed a failure with nothing to show for it. Nothing, that is, unless one counts the inevitable pregnancy storyline telegraphed from a mile away. Of course, the writers can't resist insulting their viewers directly. Jason warns Anna she could be accused of treason and imprisoned for defying the WSB. Here's the problem. No global spy agency has jurisdiction in the United States. The legal nonsense is laughable, yet the script insists on repeating it as gospel. Elsewhere, Brennan plots in real time, practically visible as he calculates whether he can prevent Jason from tattling to Carly. One almost wants to hand him a stopwatch. The show also enjoys playing with age gaps. Steve Burton and Maurice Benard are only 7 years apart, though the scripts sometimes seem determined to turn them into different generations. On the romantic front, Britt retains her trademark blunt humor, which makes her tolerable, even likable. Rocco, however, is the next pawn, destined for emotional whiplash as Lulu continues her campaign of control. Both he and Charlotte seem less than thrilled with their mother's reign, and one suspects rebellion is brewing. The shooting of Drew, too, reeks of predictability. A man would likely face him directly. Being shot in the back suggests a woman. And yet, the writers seem intent on telegraphing Stella as the culprit, especially with actress Vernee Watson's health-related exit. A shame, since her busybody energy brought some much-needed spark. In other corners of Port Charles, Ava and Christina's rare alignment over revenge against Rick proves that even sworn adversaries can unite when malice is involved. As for Jacinda, could someone please explain why she parades around in an open robe until the moment she decides to shower? The blocking alone feels like parody. And then there's Drew and Willow, the writer's pet nightmare pairing. The evil Drew saga drones on endlessly as he predictably schemes to frame Michael, with Willow cheerfully complicit. The excuse for his corruption? An undying obsession with Willow, riveting. Audiences are left either gritting their teeth or fast-forwarding, desperate for a storyline that isn't recycled from a soap writing manual circa 1987. Even the hospital scenes beg for absurdity. Will Rocco wake from surgery and mistake Britt for his mother? Quite possibly. Anna's interrogation tactics also border on incompetent. She labels Curtis a top suspect for lacking an alibi, but forgets to ask if he even owns a gun. A curious oversight for someone allegedly skilled in law enforcement. And hovering over it all are the dangling threads the writers gleefully abandon. The fate of the Outback, Congressman Drew wandering without bodyguards despite being a recent shooting victim, and of course, the endless tease of Britt and Jason. She won't play second fiddle to Carly. Who would? But their eventual pairing feels inevitable. In short, General Hospital insists on serving the same reheated storylines, predictable betrayals, recycled shootouts, and romantic triangles no one asked for. The writers may be banking on loyalty, but the audience deserves sharper storytelling than this lazy carousel of cliches. Are you a General Hospital fan who's sick of Drew Kane dragging every storyline into the ground? Here's the truth the writers won't admit. He should have been killed off long ago. The worst thing on the show right now isn't the villains, it's the fact that Drew is still alive. The writers of General Hospital seem determined to prove that Drew Kane is indestructible and insufferable. His survival is not a triumph, it's a punishment for the audience. There is no redemption arc left, only recycled storylines and a warped brain that should have been written off months ago. Instead, viewers are treated to the rebranded soap, The Drew General Hospital, with everyone else relegated to supporting cast. And yet, the same show that keeps Drew lingering has also delivered moments of brilliance. Recent episodes have been sharply acted, beautifully paced, and a reminder of why this soap can still serve as a true comfort watch. Credit where credit is due. The ensemble has been excellent, even while carrying the dead weight of Drew's storyline. But if Drew is unbearable, the police force is laughable. Crimes never get solved, investigations bend logic beyond recognition, and Dante interrogating his own brother is treated as standard procedure. In a world of endless forensic tools and Ring doorbells, Port Charles law enforcement manages to achieve nothing. Then there's Britt. Love her or loathe her, she is at least interesting. The woman stole Lulu and Dante's embryo, a move that makes Team Britt an oxymoron. But her return sparks energy the show desperately needs. Her dynamic with Jason, however, is another matter. He saves her life, she sneers at him, and the audience is left wondering why he bothers. Still, Britt's sharp tongue and refusal to worship Carly keep her relevant. Meanwhile, speculation spirals around Drew's would-be assassin. Is Michael covering for Willow? Did he see the shooter and bury the truth? Would Willow even conspire with Drew just to reclaim her children? The possibilities are tantalizing, even if the execution feels muddled. What is certain is that Michael seems more interested in protecting secrets than protecting himself. Supporting players offer varying degrees of comic relief. Elizabeth gaping like a fish, Anna Devane's smug interview smirk, and Jacinda, Port Charles's newest pot-stirring opportunist, who somehow manages to be both criminal and refreshingly real. Even the show's four-legged thief provides more entertainment than Drew's endless suffering on the floor with 2 bullet wounds. As for Port Charles itself, the city remains a soap lover's playground. Whether imagining coffee at Crimson Lights or cocktails at the Metro Court, the setting has history and charm. Even if its security agencies are an international joke, the WSB, after all, apparently leaves its classified files on the front porch for anyone to rifle through. And looming over it all is the bittersweet future, Monica's rumored passing, which will mark the end of an era. The show has weathered many losses, but that one will sting. For now, though, the focus remains on Drew, the character no one wanted, whose presence drags down every scene he occupies. Everyone except Willow despises him, and even Anna must know he's a blight. Perhaps the shooter aimed for Mercy, but unfortunately, Mercy failed. Until then, the audience can only cling to the vibrant ensemble, the flashes of sharp writing, and the hope that someday Drew's 9 soap lives will finally run out.